Everything I read about Thanksgiving, it ain't had shit to do with what we learned in school Thanksgiving was about, right or wrong.
Correct.
Yeah,
Getting
I ain't
off the
hear
boat.
nothing about Native Americans.
Getting off the boat, having dinner with some pilgrims and natives, Indians, whoever's, and then
Yeah.
everybody became friends, and then all of a sudden they disappeared.
Yeah, that is not at all anything that we read up. So y'all gotta pay attention. You need to talk to your kids about this shit. What the fuck is going on with this alleged Thanksgiving holiday shit?
It ain't in the book.
I thought it had something to do with Native Americans. I have yet to see anything about Native Americans in a definition. And we are, of course, going to touch more on that. So we asked the question moments ago, who's responsible for us having no fucking clue about the truth? Okay?
Our school.
The history, yes, definitely the school system. So I Googled, who created the American curriculum? Whose fault is it? And you know what Google said? I mean, they said...
I was going to say something you would have said. I'm going to leave it.
They said ask Wikipedia. And Wikipedia said, the history of education in the United States, or foundation of education, covers the trends in education, formal and informal learning in America from the 17th century to the early 21st century. And whose fault is it? We're going to find out. The first American schools in the original 13 colonies opened in 17th century. Boston Latin School was founded in 1635 and is both the first public school and the oldest existing school in the United States. Shout out to Boston. The first free taxpayer supported public school in North America. Was niggas allowed to attend, excuse me. The Mather School was opened in Dorchester, Massachusetts in 1639.
So probably not. Definitely not, I'm going to say.
Listen, what they taught us about the history of what blacks was doing in the United States, and that shit also was a lie. I'm reading all of this history shit, but like this shit this is way farther back than the next question that I asked Google. So we're gonna blame Massachusetts and we're gonna blame New England for starting schools. Thank you guys for starting schools. Thank you for free schools. Unless black kids wasn't allowed to go. I'm not really interested. Though I don't know nothing about black people or brown people being in New England or Massachusetts at all. And I mean, maybe I'm just too far down south to like know about what's going on up there. So anyway, fuck the history of the school system. The next question I asked Google was, who created the American... Wait, I asked him again. Was that the same question?
Yes.
To
which the short answer is some white dude somewhere.
Oh, no. Okay, it was different. Because at first I said the curriculum.
Yeah.
And so they explained the entire school system of America.
Which is still the same.
Who created the education system?
A white dude.
I don't know. The answer is Horace Mann. Okay?
Is it a dude?
Of Massachusetts.
It's a white dude.
Of course. He get on my nerves, y'all. Is it a dude? It's a white dude. We knew this. And no, he did not have black friends.
Not a one.
Not a one. Hundreds of years ago, most learning happened in homes. Parents taught their children, duh. Rich motherfuckers had private tutors, duh. Like, nobody gives a fuck about that. After the American Revolution, Thomas Jefferson argued that the newly independent nation needed an educational system, and he suggested that tax dollars be used to fund it. Shout out to Thomas Jefferson, forcing tax dollars to be used for something other than presidential whims. His pleas were ignored, however, and the idea for a public school system languished for nearly a century. That's fucked up. And that also contradicts the other article that was read moments ago, because they was talking about in 1639 in Massachusetts. The fuck? When was Thomas Jefferson president? After that. Okay, so by the 1840s, a few public schools had popped up around the country in communities that could afford them. However, the smattering, I never heard of that word, of schools wasn't good enough for education crusaders. Horace Mann of Massachusetts and Henry Barnard of Connecticut, they began calling for free compulsory schools for each children in the nation. Massachusetts passed the first compulsory school laws in 1852. New York followed the next year, and by 1918, all American children were required to attend at least elementary school. Shout out to two white dudes who was like, these kids are dumb. Horace Mann and Henry Barnard. Okay, obviously that's not what they said. But shout out to y'all for the public school system. And again, like, I'm not blaming them for everything that happened afterwards, because what the fuck is the school system doing now? No. But we just want to appreciate them for like coming up with the concept of like, what the fuck? Not just using kids for slavery. Because what else would be the concept back then? Like, if it ain't no school, what the fuck? Kids was working. Yeah, and that shit is crazy.
Which continued all the way up until like the 20s and 30s when
in America, because that shit is still happening in other countries.
Make these shoes.
It's very sad. That brings us to the next part of things. So, and a question to be answered on our Instagram. Hit us up. What did you learn about Thanksgiving when you was in school? What did you learn?
I'm okay. So it was all bullshit, right? Like, we, even up as far as at least down in Texas and stuff, as far up as recently when Obama had won the election, and there's still parts in Texas schools that were teaching something completely different about a bunch of things in history. So
that shit crazy,
right? So in my elementary school, in one of our several elementary schools, what did I learn? I don't really remember a whole lot, but it was nothing to what makes sense. Like, I even learned in one book, the original Americans of the 13 colonies, they came and hunted buffaloes to extinction, right? Which apparently isn't true. Okay. Well, yeah, there's a number of things that are just wrong, right? And then there's another things that have been omitted from history. Mm-hmm. History is written by the victor and stuff. Okay. And then there's this, which is a very, very important part of history, because there's still Native Americans that live. There's still indigenous Canadians that still are alive and have a very different view of history and stuff. So, tell us what we need to know.
So what Mobius is saying is he learned jack shit. He don't remember shit. He was probably asleep in class.